Hello, and welcome back to another Sergmanx video. Today's video, I have a bunch of pickups from the last couple months or so. So with that being said, let's dive right into it with the first game. Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast. And, well, I don't know what fell out, but bubble wrap apparently. Got the disc, and the manual, of course, because the manual is the cover art on these old school Dreamcast, PS1 games and whatnot. Next up, a game I've been eyeing for a while. Finally picked it up, The Bouncer on the PS2 from Squaresoft. Got the disc and manual. Now, I believe this game is an RPG slash beat 'em up game. So we'll see how this game is. I don't think it reviewed too well when it came out, but I tend to like games that don't review too well. Next up, we have Extermination on PS2. Never heard this game before. I just happened to see it on the shelf. I looked on the back of the box, and what I gather from this game, I still haven't looked it up yet, seems to be, I guess, an action game with maybe some horror elements. I'm not quite sure, but there's some interesting enemies behind the back of the box here with some of these screenshots, so I'll definitely check this one out. Got some PS3 games next. We have Everybody's Golf 5. Never played any games from this franchise. It was like a couple of bucks. Very colorful. I like the disc, so I'll give this one a shot. Next up is a game I'm happy I added to the collection. We have DuckTales Remastered. I really enjoyed this game when it came out on the PS3 digitally and the Wii U. No manual, sadly, but it is what it is. Another game I added back into my collection is Dark Souls 2. I quite liked Dark Souls 2. It is a fun game. It's actually different compared to Scholar of the Lost Sin, as enemy placements are different for that version. So if you want to go back to the original Dark Souls 2, the only way to do it is on the PS3 or the 360 or maybe an older PC build. I don't even know if that game came out on PC originally. But next up we have Dragon's Crown from good old Vanillaware. Got the disc, got the manual. Excellent. Missed out on this one when it came out back in the day, so I'm looking forward to giving this one a playthrough. Very nice. Alright. Another game I missed out on. We have Enslaved Odyssey to the West from good old Ninja Theory. Disc and manual. Never go wrong with that. Next up, a sealed copy of Civilization Revolution. I got this for like, I don't know, 20 bucks on Amazon, so we shall see how that is. Got some Sonic Unleashed. I think a game that gets too much hate for the Werehog sections, but I don't remember them being that atrocious. Next up, Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. Not better than Transformed, but still a fine game indeed. Disc and manual. Now, probably for the most recent of pickups for this video, we have Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes, a spiritual successor to the Suikoden franchise, especially the first two games, as the art style is the closest to those games, with Suikoden 2 being my favorite of the franchise. I'm happy a game like this exists, and it even has the original team members who made those fantastic games worked on this. Now, sadly, I believe the head guy passed away, so definitely rest in peace. It's disappointing that you couldn't live to see the release of your game. So I hope the fan base loves it, and that's really all I have to say about that. Alright, now we have a bunch of Switch games, so bear with me. The first one we have is Blood Rain Revamped. I missed the boat on this back on the PS2 days. And I even got the sequel, Blood Rain 2, revamped. I have not opened these yet, so I don't know how they play on the Switch, but I'll find out soon. Next up, we have Demon's Tilt, a fun pinball game. Sadly, though, I think this was distributed by Limited Run Games, as their name is on the back of the box, but there is no manual, in fact, which is disappointing because usually all their games comes with a manual. Next up, we have Power Slave, a PC port brought to the Nintendo Switch, and this does have a manual. So I like these old, like Duke Nukem, Doom, Quake, those type of first-person shooters, as you can just carry all these weapons and kill all your foes. Next up, we have Jajimaru Legendary Ninja Collection via Strictly Limited Games. There's a bunch of games on here. I got the manual, so I'm gonna have to give that one a playthrough. We have the Super Life of Pixel, which is a nice, kind of gives me like Super Meat Boy vibes with the way the levels are. There's a lot of hazards that you need to avoid. Here's the manual, and the art styles vary from like, I guess, 8-bit to 16-bit and whatnot, so this is a fun game. Next up, we have Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I played just through the opening sequence, and I thought that was a fantastic way to open up the game. It's a Metroidvania type game, so I'm expecting great things from it. No manual, unfortunately, but why would there be? It's an Ubisoft game in the modern day. Another game we have here is Another Code Recollection, which is a remake of the DS title and the Wii game that I don't think we ever got, and it was called Trace Memory on the DS. So I played a little bit of this. We shall see. Next up is Princess Peach Showtime. Have not played this game yet, but I've heard great things about it. Next up is The Rumblefish 2, a nice 2D fighting game with quite a nice art style. No manual. And I think this was on the Neo Geo, if I'm not mistaken. So, pretty cool. Next up, we have Trip World DX. Haven't opened this yet, but I did play it. It was like on sale on the eShop for a very cheap price. It's a fun little Game Boy Color game that's only like maybe an hour long, so it's not even lengthy whatsoever. But it's a fun one. I had to get the physical. Next up, we have Super Sami Roll, and this is kind of like Super Monkey Ball a little bit with some platforming, and it's quite fun. I actually made it fairly far in this game, and I really like it. Oh yeah, does this have manual? Yes, it does. It does have manual. Next up, I had to get these. These are the games that made me interested in this franchise. But we have Persona 3 Portable. I prefer the original version of Persona 3 simply because you can walk around the different areas in the overworld. Here you can't. It's more like a point and click. Your only form of exploration, I guess, is the dungeons. But still had to get a physical of Persona 3. Now we have the real game that got me into the franchise, courtesy of my boy Scorpio Cesar. We have Persona 4, but the Golden Edition. Now, Persona 4 is really a special game. I love Persona 4 a lot. Very, very long game, unfortunately. Well, not maybe unfortunately, but if you don't have the time, you're going to be playing this game for months upon months. And there's a lot to do, and the story is fantastic. To date, this is still my favorite Persona game, and I like it a lot. Alright, next up, we have more Switch goodness. Tormented Souls. Now, originally I was trashing this version of the game when it was announced, but honestly, it runs pretty good on the Switch, and the graphics haven't been downgraded too much from the PS5 version in which I played. So this is a really fun game. I really enjoyed it on the PS5, and it's pretty good on the Nintendo Switch. So if that's your only option of playing the game, I'd still say it's worth it. Next up, we have the Breakers collection. Now, I think I got it mistaken. I don't think the Rumblefish was on the Neo Geo. I think it was the Breakers. This was handled by Strictly Limited. Actually, was it? Let me see. I don't know. I don't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. We got manual. Next up is a interesting game. It's called BPM Bullets Per Minute. It's a rhythm first-person shooter, so you shoot your guns to the beat of the song, I think, and then you do damage. I didn't really like this one too much. I thought it was going to be an entirely different game, but I also bought it without really doing any research into it. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. I have to give it another shot. Okay. Next up, we have the Jurassic Park collection. Now, the only Jurassic Park game I played was the original on Sega Genesis, where you play as Dr. Alan Grant, and you're going through the jungle, avoiding dinosaurs and whatnot. So, I gotta check out the rest of these games. Next, we have, well, Raincode Archives, or Master Detective Archives Raincode, made by the Danganronpa guys, as I love Danganronpa. Haven't tried this one yet, but I will definitely get to it. Next up, we got Broforce. Saw this in the Best Buy. Haven't opened it yet, but it definitely looks like something I would play. It almost kind of looks like I guess a little Contra elements to it, if I'm not mistaken. If someone has played Broforce, please tell me how it is. All right. Next up, we have Persona 5. Now, I had this game already. I had the Steelbook edition, but I'm going to be honest, I prefer just the regular case with the artwork because it goes better with my display, I suppose. So I have that version, and I decided to buy this. It was like 20 bucks, so I figured why not. Persona 5, fantastic game. Check it out. Next up, we have another Crusade, which is a Super Mario RPG inspired game, but nowhere near as good. Like, I'll say Super Mario RPG is like a 10 out of 10, right? And this game is more like a 6 out of 10. I still enjoyed my time with it, but it's okay. Next up, we have the Disc Room, which you go through these different rooms trying to avoid these discs that are trying to kill you. It's pretty fun. It's got a pretty hefty manual here. So it's not bad. I usually like Divulger digital titles. And last of the Switch games, we have Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures Deluxe. Now, occasionally I like a good build your own theme park type game, so this will scratch that itch. No manual, but did you really expect one? Alright. Next couple of stuff here, they all kind of go hand in hand together. So, first up we have Battletoads on the Game Boy. Next up, Castlevania Adventure on the Game Boy. And then these two coming next, we have Mother 1 and 2, which is basically Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings. This never came overseas over here, so this is a reproduction cart translated into English. So if you want Earthbound in a portable fashion, well, you got it here. And then last but not least is it's a fake game, but it's Pokemon My Ass version. I haven't tried this yet, so I don't know what to expect. Now, the reason I say these next items go together is because I have a Analogue Pocket, and I'm gonna make a dedicated video to this one day, but this device is quite fantastic. So, just to demonstrate, these take your old Game Boy games, GBA games, and you can put it in here, and these games look fantastic on the device. I don't know if this camera will do it justice. So we play the cartridge. We're gonna play. So you got the good old classic green. Yep. So pretty cool. So that's the Analogue Pocket. Now I have one last item here. Now I was very hesitant on giving the story behind this one because this was honestly a headache and a pain in the ass, and it goes to show you got to be careful who you're buying things from on, whether it be various social media platforms or even eBay to some extent, but always use PayPal and make sure you don't do it as friends and family. You do it as the other option because, well, let's open this up. So, I'm not going to talk about who this is. At least, I was going to originally, but I decided not to. So I bought this back in March when I was in Florida. So we have a sealed, boxed copy of the Mega Man Legacy Collection on 3DS. Comes with the gold Mega Man amiibo. To me, that was the most appealing thing about it. I mean, the box isn't in perfect condition, but I was also pre-warned about this too. So I knew what I was buying, but this guy was trying to use his influence to say, "Hey, you can trust me. I'm not gonna screw you over or whatnot." He basically wanted me to give him more money on PayPal, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that. And he said he'd like give it back to me, and I'm just like, "Nah, bro. I'm just trying to do a transaction. That's it." And then he said, "Yeah, I'll ship it out the next day." So I wait weeks. And I don't hear anything. So I have to hit up this guy to find out what's going on. And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, man, I was just thinking about you." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." So I'm like, "When are you going to ship this out?" There's some details I'll leave out of the story because I don't want to put this guy's business out there. But he kept giving me 3 different reasons why he couldn't ship out the items. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it the next day." Something would come up. "Oh, man, I'll do it the next day." Yeah, something came up. So at this point, I said, "Listen, man, I'm giving you one more chance. Mail it out, or I want a refund." As simple as that. So he's like, "Yeah, okay, you have my word, I'll give you a refund." And the day comes by and nothing. So at this point, I get mad. I go right to PayPal and I try to get my money back. He flips his shit and tells me, "Oh, you're screwing me up, man. You're screwing up my reputation on PayPal." And he's trying to guilt trip me into making me feel bad. I'm like, "Bro, you haven't lived up to your word. You said you were going to ship this out. Like you have yet to prove to me that you were capable of living up to your end of the deal. So how are you going to say that I'm accusing him of lying about X, Y, and Z, about the troubles he's going through?" But I'm like, "Dude, that's like, no, like I've never accused you of lying about a certain situation. Like, just all I'm asking is for my item. Like, and I wanted my money back." So eventually the situation was resolved. Kinda, because he also promised he would also PayPal me $50, and he never did that. So, and of course he says, "Hey, you can trust me. I'll give you my word. I've yet to go back on my word." So, that really annoyed me, but at least I finally got the item. It's quite unfortunate I had to go through this headache to get this item. My advice to you is, if you're gonna sell items online, deliver them to the people that paid money for your stuff. So that's the end of this video. Got a lot of great stuff here. Thank you all for watching. And as always, this has been another Sergmanx video. Have a good one and peace.
Super Retro Force.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment below your thoughts on today's topic. Please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell to be notified when the next Sergmanx video drops. Have a good one.